Let's get to the markets the day after the S&P and NASDAQ saw their worst day since 2022. Jim, sounds like you still think we might be overbought here.
Yeah, we are. And look, the small cap trade with the mega cap trade is, I think, still going to be on. Look, they're going to try to make a stand here. And I think you have to watch NVIDIA. Why? Because that's been behind everything, meaning that every company seems to be paying too much for NVIDIA. That's the new narrative. And if they're paying too much for NVIDIA, that means that you don't get the bang for the buck for AI. We do have Bill McDermott, who is very positive on AI, David. But I would say that there is a revulsion to the idea that AI is the savior. And it really, I think, can be laid to the horrible Tesla call that I actually thought was okay, but the reaction has been.
But why would that translate into AI? I mean, don't you feel
because he
as though
spent the most visibly. Because he talked about the.
He did. He talked about everything.
He talked about NVIDIA chips.
Everything except
everyone else kind of
basically.
But
yeah.
no, they're all spinning. I mean, like we could say Alphabet. Look at Micron's down 50 straight points. Dell is down 60 straight points. I mean, when I say straight, I don't mean like casual. I mean like wow.
You had a number of things happen at the same time. You had obviously, you had rates start down, and that sparked this huge rally in the small caps and medium caps, so the Russell, the IWM, as we've discussed. And then you also had this thesis that sort of is gaining some momentum that will they ever see a return on this enormous amount that is being invested in CapEx by the big four, really, let's call it.
The big four, yes. We should get rid of the seven.
Can those
That's
numbers, those enormous numbers, and we talked about it yesterday with Alphabet, ever really generate a return? Now, they say yes, of course.
No,
at Alphabet,
I
they
don't
say
think
yes.
That's true. I think they said they can't afford to not spend because it might be yes. But that's the answer. The street hates that.
Right.
Street said, I mean, you're buying stuff because Amazon's buying stuff? Is that like the wrap? Now, I thought before there's going to be so much, but I still think there's going to be great money. I just think the narrative has changed to the point that you're guilty about spending until proven innocent, and we don't have anything to prove your innocence yet.
No, but they're not going to stop their spending.
No, they won't.
No.
Well, because look, we know, Carl, a lot of this is at the feet of Jensen Huang at NVIDIA. And what NVIDIA said was, you can't afford to not do the spend because you'll never catch up. I believe that. But that may mean that I am an SUCKER. I don't know if you have that ratio. You have that ratio? That's the key ratio.
Meanwhile, Jim, all the results today imply price cuts in cars, price cuts at airlines, price cuts at restaurants, price cuts at consumer products.
Yes. It's unbelievable. But remember, this is in reaction to the customer going on strike. They're not going to pay for the high-end pet food at Nestle. They're really rejecting French fries at restaurants. This customer at the supermarket.
Isn't that what we wanted?
It's exactly what we wanted. It's what Jay wanted, Jay Powell, what he wanted. So this is what happens when you finally get your cut. But did my thing just go off? Oh, I don't even care. Can you hear me?
I hear you fine.
We got you.
All right, fine. This is when you get the cut. At the ugliest moment, where we come in today and say, David, there's a French fry revolution. And you say, let them eat cake. I'm shorting cake.
You're shorting cake as well.
Cake big time.
Yeah. The reversal that we've seen when it comes to the small caps versus the Mag 7 or the whatever you want to call them, mega cap tech, it's historic.
It's unlike anything. Semblist has the number. JP Morgan's chief poobah. He's got the. It's like a nine. You have to go back 100 years before you found something like this.
Yes.
100 years.
That's a long time of market history. I mean, only you are in a position to actually recall exactly how long that is.
Well, this is like when I fought alongside my grandfather in World War I with Pershing.
You do need to go a long way back.
Yesterday,
it's historic.
Yesterday's action, NVIDIA down 7, Tesla down 12, Mag 7 forward PE down nearly 2 points.
No, it's extraordinary. And so the question is, do people believe in the thesis that David propounded, which is that you're just going to keep, until there's an ROI, you're an SUCKER. And I don't want to be that. I've been riding these all the way up for my trust. And believe me, the meetings that I've had, both with Jeff Marks and, of course, with myself, very soul-searching, because in the end, I'm kind of like a Dom DeLuise I'm triple schizophrenic this morning on this stuff.
The memories are so short, don't you think? At some period of weeks, everybody would be like, all right, We're not worried about our ROI right now any longer. It's the same way that I remember the panic around Alphabet for about a 3-week period. My God, their monopoly on search is truly threatened by AI. And, that
and then search grows 13.
And then that was over. And was like, all right, everybody move on, nothing to see here.
The trust is holding on. We actually made trims. Now, that means that I was not as stupid as I may look to you.
Well, we'll get to Ford in a moment.
I didn't go to Harvard to get stupid, but I own Ford, and it looks like I did. I actually did well at Harvard. Now I feel like they should take my degree back.
All right, so after a beatdown yesterday in NVIDIA and megacap tech, we headed lower early in today's trading session very quickly. I was honestly surprised at the velocity with which the market moved lower this morning. NVIDIA blasted below this trend line that it was using as support, and we went lower very quickly, reaching a low of $106.30 today. For about a month now, I have been saying that I was waiting for NVIDIA to come back into the range of $98 per share and $112 per share before I would consider adding NVIDIA. And today I did nibble a little bit. I actually added some shares of NVDL, a 2x leveraged NVIDIA ETF very close to the lows today. As I said, we broke below the support trend line very quickly. We broke way below the lower Bollinger Band. We became very oversold very quickly, and I thought to myself, something's got to give. This is way too fast of a pullback. And then I noticed 3 things on the SPY. We were approaching a level of previous support, a support trend line, and a 4-hour demand zone all at the same time. So after we touched that demand zone and started to curl back up, I added exposure to NVIDIA very close to today's low. Now I want to emphasize something very important here. I just nibbled today. I did not put on a massive position, and I did not go full-on bull mode. And the reason for this is simple. The rest of the market, after the market's reaction to Tesla and Alphabet's earnings recently, I think the entire market is holding its breath right now because of what happens next week. Next week is going to be crazy. And I mean crazy. We have so many important earnings reports next week, both for megacap tech and semiconductors, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, Amazon, AMD, Lam Research, and so many others. And on top of all of that, we also have FOMC next week. So with this in mind, I think many market participants have been de-risking the past couple days and taking some money off of the table because there are just so many unknowns on the horizon, especially so next week. Be careful next week because there is so much happening all at the same time, and things could change rapidly in the market next week, whether good or bad. So I did nibble today, and I added some shares near today's low, but I'm cautiously watching to see where we go from here. I'm deploying a little bit of capital on these red days, but I'm also cautiously watching the entire market, and I'm not going all in right now. There are just too many unknowns at the moment. Looking at NVIDIA on the daily time frame, we did break below the 50-day moving average. That's the purple line on this chart. And we are extended a decent ways above the long-term SMA line. Back in April, when we broke beneath the 50-day moving average, we hung out just below it for a number of days, and then we just moved higher. I'm not sure what to expect this time around because the rest of the market is in a very different situation now compared to where it was back then. Right now, we have election concerns ramping up. We have the market anticipating a Fed rate cut in September, which leads many market participants to trim megacap tech profits and rotate that capital elsewhere. Expectations for megacap tech earnings are so extremely high right now, but at the same time, these companies are having to spend massive amounts of money on CapEx and building out AI infrastructure, and that cuts into these companies' earnings in the short term, and market participants are not happy about that. So if the rest of megacap tech moves lower, I expect it to pull NVIDIA down with it. That being said, I do want to mention that on both Tesla and Alphabet's recent earnings calls, they both reiterated the need to spend money on AI and the incredibly great demand for NVIDIA chips right now. Elon Musk said that Tesla simply cannot get enough NVIDIA chips right now because demand is so great, and Alphabet said that at this juncture it is riskier not to spend money on AI than it is to spend money on AI, and that they intend to increase CapEx, which ultimately means more money going to NVIDIA. So that is very good news for NVIDIA. You have to keep in mind, though, that for now, if these companies are spending large amounts of money on CapEx, then that will cut into their earnings, which may spook market participants in the short term. And again, if megacap tech as a whole moves lower, it's going to pull NVIDIA with it. At the same time, the fact that these companies are increasing their spend on NVIDIA chips is very good news for the long-term future of NVIDIA. So if I see NVIDIA dip again near $100 per share, or even dip lower into the 90s, then I am most likely going to add more to my position. I'm going to do so cautiously, though, because I don't know what to expect from the rest of the market in the days ahead. I would rather be patient and slowly move into a position rather than go full-blown bull mode and get a bad entry. So that's my 2 cents. Anyways, I hope you're all having a great day, and I'm curious to know your thoughts on NVIDIA in the comments below. Please leave a like on this video so more people will see it. And while you're down there, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.